and I am feeling the need to really rant. I'm a little bit angry with my doctor. I understand how the game is played. She is what we're calling doing a CYA, cover your ass. But I requested and I just received, but I think that was from the orthopedist who clearly can look right at the x ray and see that I've had a broken arm and I've been managing in this world with a broken arm for 8 fucking months. But the last few days, my back is going out. Everybody around here can tell that I'm walking like the hunchback at Notre Dame. You know, it's if my back goes out, that means I'm not going to be able to get up from where I'm at. That means I may begin urinating and defecating on myself, and that's a 911 situation. Now, let me explain why I'm pissed off at my doctor. Part of it's due to all you Biden people and stuff, the fact that y'all have really kept us separate for years. I've had to deal with the specialists, had to see one specialist because there's still a possibility that I have testicular cancer and have had for 4+ years. I just don't even think about it. I try not to think about stuff that's that horrible. But what my doctor did was she prescribed, I'm already taking the best GABA analog on earth. It's actually one of the few times that we could say that we improved upon God's own chemistry. And it's one of the most desired drugs or medications on this planet because it works and it has super low toxicity. It's saved my life. That plus cannabis, I'll say it right now, Xanax plus cannabis healed my heart when I had mitral valve prolapse from PTSD. But what really chaps me about my doctor is that I was one of the first people to give an evaluation on and test Neurontin, gabapentin, almost 29 years ago. And I told him, I said, yeah, beginning at about the 100 milligram level, it does alter pain perception. That's the GABA nodes play a factor in pain perception. That's why some of you people are such whiny, bitchy, getting the best drugs out there, the best opioids, all that shit is because your perception of pain. See, I have the highest pain tolerance in history. It's a matter of my medical record, and one may not destroy medical records if you don't know the law. A doctor sells his practice because his practice are his medical records, which in the last couple of decades, they've been compressing them tremendously, been abstracting them down and so on, but they're still necessary for future medical research. So that's what really pissed me off is I'm already taking the best GABA analog out there, which alters pain perception and helps me tremendously. And besides controlling the seizures, the anxiety, the insomnia, all that other shit, and that, along with cannabis, long ago, cured I saw the echocardiogram, my mitral valve flap, which was huge, clacking, you could hear it, literally through my chest. You didn't really need to get a stethoscope too much near it. And I saw my last echocardiogram, and I had literally at age 50 something, after I had the mitral valve flap of a 17-year-old cross-country runner. Don't ever tell me shit about pharmacology and curing people and shit. I think I wanted to make the title of this video is, do medical doctors have a soul? I'm very much in doubt of that. I think most medical doctors, number one, in case you don't know it, medical doctors are ethically required to experiment on 25% of their patients. And if you're not smart like me, you'll end up being one of those lab rats. You'll be one of the 25% that gets experimented on with drugs that later turn out to have, and really already have, no beneficial effect, and all they have is horrific, lethal disease pathogenic side effects. You know, some drugs, this is where I could get into a, let's take Plavix for a moment, which I recommended to a friend of mine, but I told him that the benefit was statistically irrelevant. Can you read my lips? Statistically irrelevant. I've had to drink a little bit of wine because I've had to kill the pain. The last couple of days, everybody around here can tell that I'm hunched over, can barely walk. Have Plavix only produced a 2% decrease in mortality in a large-scale study. 2% reduction in mortality is statistically irrelevant because that can happen all by itself, all on its own, depending upon the biochemically individual people that are participants of. We are not all biochemically or genetically the same. I am not the same as you. Your brain is smaller than mine. You have 32 modern teeth, kind of like a possum kind of thing. I got the ancient 28 teeth. We are not the same. I have pain tolerance that you wouldn't believe. Few people have. I have a lot of good characteristics that I find completely absent in upcoming generations and people surrounding, populations surrounding me and stuff. I find these people to be like a bunch of gnawing rats just looking for the next little bite of meth and their next credit card. Do doctors have a soul? That's really the question here. And my doctor was just playing it safe because she has a booming practice, hugging little old ladies and giving them pain pills. She's an osteopath. And I've seen her patients. They come in, they're whining, they're moaning, they're contorting, they're doing everything showing me that there's all their kinetics is showing me that there's nothing wrong with their body. You know, I sat in a particular place around here in front of a clinic, and I can tell that 99% of the people going in and out of the clinic are hypochondriacs. I mean, like when a sick child goes into a clinic and comes out hopping and skipping and jumping, the child didn't need to go. When you come in there and you walk and your stride is perfect, the look on your face, your affect is normal and so on, I know you're a hypochondriac. I'm going to define that before I go here. Hypochondriasis is an abnormal, although that's in human history, it's not that abnormal. It's a preoccupation, a pathological preoccupation with your health. If you talk about jogging and healthy eating and all this other crap all the time, you're a fucking hypochondriac. I run into some hypochondriacs eat up about 80 to 90% of while the people who are being killed by COX-1 and COX-2 inhibitors, the NSAIDs, the non-steroidals, they're sick at home. They can't really even physically get in to see a doctor. And the rich hypochondriacs that went to work for the post office and got that golden parrot Cadillac health insurance and just beat it to death every year, you know. Yeah. I don't think that it helps because I think I've met at least one doctor, the guy who rebuilt my leg. It may just be the love of his craft, but at least he gave me proper, appropriate. I'm going to try to finish around here. See, I'm an expert in anti-nociception. That's pain relief. And I learned a lot of it early. When I was 16, I played 6 games, football games, won 5 of them. beat the crap out of people my size. It's high school, but you know, I played 6 games, won 5 of them, with a knee that had no ligaments, and I took no drugs. That's the year that the 49ers in the newspaper guaranteed me a contract, quote unquote, whether he plays a down of college ball or not. I walked away from that contract. But there was a brilliant surgeon who worked his ass off and did a great job. I think I'm the first success in history in this. But he did the correct way. He gave me plenty of morphine, during the first month or so, which, by the way, will really, let's just put it like this. I gave birth to about a 6-pound clay baby. You women ain't got nothing on me. I was in labor for like 4 or 5 days. They tried everything, enemas, everything. So, and then he went through the standard. Actually, to my knowledge, I am the last person, listen carefully. To my knowledge, I am the last person in the United States of America. They carried me over into 1971 because young doctors, I run into doctors all the time that are only 45 or 50 years old who've never heard of or seen an ad lib prescription. To the best of my knowledge, I was the last person in this country to have ad lib, that means at liberty. Old prescription pads used to be marked, the doctor's name, etc. At the bottom, refills 1, 2, 3, 4, and go to 4. And then at the bottom, check off ad lib, which means at liberty, which means this is usually an opioid, addict. And they have tremendous tolerance, and just give us all that we, come in to get. In 1971, I'm pretty sure I was the last person in the United States of America to hold and to behave well and do everything else, and and go through the steps. You have to go through like the kind of the least, go through morphine, then you start going through other opioids until you get to the really nasty. That's the end of the road, is Darvon, the cousin of methadone, which, much like methadone, Darvon really mostly only produces withdrawal symptoms, relieves very little pain. I think that Dr. Lloyd Taylor, now deceased, of San Francisco, a great surgeon, the only reason I'm walking at all today is because of Lloyd Taylor. And he treated me right, and he kept me on opioids for 6 months. And I mean, all I wanted, all I could handle and stuff. And by the way, the current opioid situation was caused by the American Medical Association. If you don't know it, they printed it right in the journal saying that the studies showed that we've been withholding pain relief. I'm talking about, this is almost 20 years ago. Yeah, about 20 years ago. We've been withholding pain relief too much to, yada, yada, governmental policy. And they said, go ahead and kind of essentially whip out those prescription pads and get the prescribing. And now they're getting sued for doing the very same thing that the Journal of the American Medical Association told them to do 20 years ago. You keep blaming the drug companies, it's a lot more complicated than that. I don't like simple-minded people. I don't have simple thoughts. Well, except sometimes when it comes to really good-looking women, although I gave them up. I gave them up for Lent, and I gave them up because I don't really. What need of a woman does a holy man have? I'm a holy man. I'm into healing. I'm into teaching. I'm into all sorts of other things. I see beautiful women around me all the time, but they hold my attention for literally about 1/10 of a second. So I wish we could really answer the question. One possible answer was that 28, almost 30 years ago, they did a survey of doctors asking them, this was a standard confidential blind questionnaire stuff. You don't know who's, they asked them, why did you become a medical doctor? And, some of them answered what they felt like they said for the money, but in reality, large majority of them said they did it for the prestige and power. It's literally the power of life and death over other people. I don't like that. This whole COVID thing, you want to talk about alienating me from the medical profession. Just mention COVID. Because I was one of the people out there on the front lines every day, pushing the science out there that people like me with my genetics don't need no stinking fucking vaccines and shit. Do medical doctors have a soul? I think it's up for debate, don't you? When we look at people from everybody from Dr. Joseph Mengele to all the doctors that experimented on the black men at Tuskegee with syphilis, do they have a soul? If you deliberately infect somebody with syphilis and you let them go throughout their life, you don't tell them or help them, do you have a soul? And remember that the main reason I made this was because my doctor pissed me off by treating me like I was a retard today, like I didn't have a soul or a brain, by prescribing me gabapentin on top of Xanax, 2 GABA analogs, when the first one that I've been taking for 34 years is obviously superior and less toxic. I hope that you stand before white hair a little bit more and learn something from me, because I can already tell I'm making videos about stuff that I want to talk about, and y'all are not watching. If I talk about local gossip, the fireworks thing went off, the Pflugerville, Texas, this ain't Austin. My original channel was taken off, I was at like 1,600 views before I discovered that one of my subscribers was a convicted child rapist doing 25 years. Also got a couple of new subscribers I'm a little leery about, but I want you to just think about it, because I've done a lot of medic work. I've sewed myself, I've fixed a lot of other people, I've sewed them up, but I always try to do my very best. I always have. Actually, one of the easiest to obtain for like superficial suturing is mint oil. Will deaden that skin. You don't need Novocaine, lidocaine, stuff like that. Although the Novocaine, lidocaine cuts down on bleeding, but there are other things that will cut down on bleeding. It's a complicated subject. I'm not a simple person. I'm not a simple-minded person. Life, all those people that say that life is simple. You do this, you do that, then you go drop a deuce. You're the people that are my enemy. You're the people that worship doctors and treat them like they all have souls. Let me tell you something from firsthand experience. Exposure to 1,000 doctors in my 70 years. Most of those doctors have no soul whatsoever. That's the answer to this question of this video. Do doctors have a soul? No, most of them do not. The ones that do usually drop out of the profession early, or they develop post-traumatic stress disorder. You can't be around sick and dying people and have to do all the things that a real caring doctor would do without becoming mentally ill. For you doctors out there that are actually trying to help us, I praise you. I thank you. May God bless you. And it's 20 minutes. It's time for me to check out and open up this second bottle of wine, because I need the pain relief. I'm in pain. Was in pain. I'm halfway there. Just remember, does your doctor have a soul?